I hit record a drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
Good Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? You know what time it is. This is the TFG Sports Show. I am your host, Kendrick, the sports guy. It's the best 30-minute sports talk show on social media. Again, good Saturday morning to you. I hope everyone is having a good weekend. I know yesterday was St. Patty's Day, so some may have went and celebrated with a little bit of the green bubbly or whatever, and I hope you enjoyed your night and were safe. But again, we're here to talk a little bit of sports for you for the next 30 minutes, and we're going to be entertained. But before we jump into this thing, I want to make sure everybody come in. Make sure you hit that like, hit that share button, subscribe, and most definitely comment so we can chat a little bit about what's going on in the world of sports, what has been happening this week, some of the biggest sports stories. So I hope everybody jump in here real quick, and we're going to chat a taste. I see I got my man Corey Durham. Good rising to you, my brother. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate you jumping in. Let's make sure, again, you like, share the page, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. That's TFG Sports Media on YouTube. Make sure you like and follow it on Facebook. And also do me a solid, make sure you like and follow Kendrick Sports Hustle on the YouTube, and well, actually subscribe to it on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to my personal sports channel. That's SportzHustle on YouTube. Make sure you like and follow Kendrick Sports Hustle on Facebook as well. So again, my man Corey Durham is in here out of East Texas. One a good friend of mine I've been knowing for quite a long time, and he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So I always remember that. So we're gonna jump into this thing real quick. We're gonna just hit one quick sports hit real quick. This has been a story that has been getting all the attention. The Ja Morant story, all-star guard with the Grizzlies, where he did sit down and met with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver on Wednesday. He did get suspended by the NBA for 8 games without pay. He also checked himself into a counseling facility in Florida for issues. And he would eventually do a sit-down interview with ESPN's Jalen Rose. And I watched a little bit of the interview. He pretty much said all the right things. He showed some contriteness, but the proof is in the pudding. Action speaks louder than words. So now we're going to see if he's going to follow through with all those things. I'm rooting for the young fella. Yeah, Corey says die hard. I know already, Corey. I'm rooting for the young fella. 23 years old. Again, I don't want to keep bringing age and making that an excuse for irrational behavior. Obviously, we all were young. We did do stupid stuff when you're younger. But there comes a time and a place when you're a brand, when you're a leader of a team, when you're a leader of men and or women, you have to be more responsible and make better decisions, because eventually you don't want this to affect your career in the long run. And also generational wealth. I mean, he has these endorsements with Powerade, and he has his own shoe with Nike. He's on the verge of he could possibly lose that, and we don't want to see that happen. I know I don't. So we're gonna see what happens. Again, the proof is in the pudding. Again, he's away for 8 games. I think he will be able to be back, I want to say, on Wednesday, because of some of those games he's already been suspended for. So we'll see. And we're rooting for Ja Morant, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen with that. Now, with that said, let's jump into our first topic, the men's tournament bracket. Are your men's tournament brackets busted? The NCAA men's tournament, and I said this a couple of shows ago, I said that I would not be surprised if a double seed, like a 10 or 11 or 12 seed, end up in the Final Four or possibly winning. Well, we already got 3 upsets we already got in the tournament. Let's go over where we are. The number 1 seeds is Houston, Kansas, Purdue. They were the number 1 seed. They got knocked out last night. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. And Alabama is the number 1 overall seed in the South region, and their road to the Final Four has been made a lot easier because the South region is the region that had those two major upsets. Now, number 2 seeds that's still rocking and rolling. Well, only one of it, this one isn't, Arizona. They got knocked out. They were a 2 seed. You got Texas, UCLA, and Marquette as 2 seeds that's still rolling. And the number 3 seeds we got is Baylor, Xavier, Gonzaga, and Kansas State. 4 seeds, Virginia, who got knocked out. That was one of the upsets that happened on Thursday. We have Indiana, UConn, and Tennessee as the other 4 seeds. And the 5th seed, you got Duke. And then our 6 seeds, we got TCU and Kentucky. Now, let's talk about these upsets again. I'm sure everybody brackets are busted at this point. I think I was reading somewhere where I think there's only like 2% of brackets that are still held together. And I could be, that's the last I heard. Houston says, Houston didn't lose. Houston is still, they didn't play. Matter of fact, Houston plays, they play today. They play number 9 Auburn. Houston did not lose. Now they're going to be without Marcus Sasser. I don't think he's going to play. That growing, he injured that growing, so he's still in there. Memphis lost. Okay, see, I was trying to go over Memphis lost. Well, there you have it. Again, this tournament is crazy. You got everything going on. Memphis has lost. So again, I really wasn't. I was really going over the first, like the top seeds and the 4 seeds, the 2, 3, and 4 seeds. But Memphis lost 2. Again, this tournament is wide open. What's up, the Real Estate Insider? Thanks for dropping in, my brother. Appreciate you as always. So again, it's wide open. And I said that from the jump. I said that this tournament was going to be wide open. But let's talk about these upsets. Again, out of the South, number 13 seed Furman, they beat number 4 Virginia on Thursday, 68-67. And the number 15 seeded Princeton upset number 2 seed Arizona, 59-55. That was Princeton's first NCAA tournament win in 25 years. They scored the final 9 points to finish the upset. And then again last night, the number 1 seed went down, Purdue. They lost to number 16 seed Farley Dickinson, 63-58. That's the second time in the tournament history that a number 16 seed knocks off a number 1 seed. It happened back in 2018 when University of Maryland, Baltimore County beat Virginia back in 18. That was the number 16 knocking off a number 1 seed. Now, interesting fact about Farley Dickinson, they are the shortest roster in Division I men's basketball. 6'1" is the average height of this team, and they beat a Purdue team with one of the tallest players in college basketball, Purdue's 7'4" All-American Zach Edey, even though he had 21 points and 15 rebounds. Farley Dickinson pulled off the upset. So, again, I know everybody's brackets are probably busted at this point. You might as well just say, let's do a do-over, so we're going to see. March Madness is definitely been March Madness. Now, number 16 Farley Dickinson will play the number 9 Florida Atlantic on tomorrow at 6:45 p.m. in the second round. Now, some of the games today that's happening in March Madness, we got the number 1 seed Alabama versus number 8 seed Maryland. We got the number 7 seed Missouri Tigers and number 15 seed Princeton. We got the number 5 seed Duke Blue Devils, number 4 seed Tennessee Volunteers. We got the number 1 seed, the Houston Cougs. Again, they're going to probably be without Marcus Sasser. They got number 9 Auburn. That's going to be a tough one. I think that one and that Duke, Tennessee, those going to be some games to keep your eye on. The number 10 seed Penn State Nittany Lions take on the number 2 Texas Longhorns. And the Texas Longhorns is a sleeper. I would say this. I think that's one team that's flying under the radar, but I wouldn't be surprised if Texas made it to the Final Four, considering all that the adversity that they went through with the former head coach Chris Beard being fired in December, and they assistant coach has done a heck of a job keeping this team together. But number 10, Penn State, number 2, Texas, they play today as well. And a number 1 seed, the Kansas Jayhawks, and the number 8 Arkansas. That's going to be a good one. Head coach of Kansas, Bill Self, will not coach in this game. If you didn't know, he had a procedure last week. He was having some issues with some tightness in his chest. Don't know. They didn't go into the specifics of what those issues are, but he will not coach versus Arkansas on today. And then we got number 7 Northwestern and number 2 seed UCLA. Those are some of the games that are happening today. So again, March Madness is March Madness. It is crazy. I think everybody bracket now, you done balled it up and you shooting it in the basket, you playing basketball with it at this point. But again, this is where men's college basketball is. I don't think there is a dominant team. You got programs that have history, but far as with the one and done, that has definitely affected how these teams, and it's given the mid majors, those teams that got a little bit more experience. Those teams are tending to be a lot more successful, having successful runs in this tournaments. You had the North Carolina Tar Heels, who I'm a fan of, didn't even make the tournament, and they turned down to play in the NIT. They just didn't have a great season at all. So again, men's basketball is parity. Some people like it, some people don't, but this is where we are now. This is where men's college basketball is going to be. And don't be surprised to kind of start seeing college, even football, go that way as well. Corey says, everybody play basketball now. Exactly, Corey. So that's where we at, man. I wish I would have pulled the clip from the show I did 2 weeks ago when I said, don't be surprised if a double-digit seed make it to the Final Four, because I did say that, and I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see another number one seed bounce before it's all said and done. Corey also says, I'm a Tar Heel from the early 80s. Hey, me too, I'm an MJ guy, but I've always been a Tar Heel fan. I was a Syracuse fan as well. From when I'm talking about the Big East days when it was Syracuse and Georgetown going at it. As always, that was, to me, that was the pinnacle. That was some of the greatest college basketball being played. The Big East tournament and the Big East conference and the ACC conference always been strong, but during the 80s, that was definitely I was both into both conferences, and I was a Syracuse Orangeman fan as well. So I just want to know who you guys got, who you see got it, who you think gonna make it run in this tournament, Corey. Corey says, I see with Alabama football teams, they play a lot of close games now. Yeah, because the thing is, again, that transfer portal didn't change the game. That the NIL deals is kind of changing the game. These players will be able to make money off their name, image, and likeness. So it's leveling the playing field in men's and basketball and football sports, in my opinion. Corey says, I'm Syracuse man too. See, I knew that's why we were cool, brother. I knew that's why we were cool. Yep. So again, men's tournament. Again, it's down to the 32. Start today. You got games today and games tomorrow. So check that out. Let's move on to our next topic. We're gonna talk about the NFL news and notes that went down in NFL free agency. We had a lot of movers and shakers going on in the NFL. The league business opened up on Wednesday, where teams were able to sign players. We have been hearing players was going here and there, but they couldn't officially make these moves and sign contracts until this past Wednesday. One of the biggest moves that we heard that I think a lot of people knew was coming. The Dallas Cowboys did release running back Ezekiel Elliott after 7 seasons. They released him as a post-June 1st release. And this will save the Cowboys more than $10 million on their cap. Elliott, he was only 27 years old, had career lows in rushing attempts. This season, 231 rushing yards. He had 876 yards rushing, and he only rushed per carry 3.8 yards, but he did have 12 touchdowns, and he had 9 touchdowns in 9 straight games. Over his career with the Cowboys, he had 68 touchdowns, 8,262 rushing yards, which puts him third on the list behind Emmitt Smith and Tony Dorsett. And I think we all saw this coming. I mean, NFL is a business. Sometimes you got to make business moves. And he would have made $10.2 million, and I don't think you can pay him that at this point. I don't think you could pay him that, in my opinion. Corey says, I feel like they're gonna resign him. That's what I've been thinking. I'm thinking I think that was some of the talk. Mike Florio with Pro Football Talk did say that it doesn't look like that'll happen, but I think that will happen. Anything can happen in the NFL, so we'll see. I do know that there were reports that the Buccaneers are interested in signing Ezekiel Elliott. But I think even if he doesn't get re-signed with the Cowboys, I think he will end up with someone else. Now, he did sign that 6-year, $90 million extension back in 2019. After he signed that, Zeke just wasn't the same player. He's had some injuries up and down, had some situations with the offensive line too, where the offensive line wasn't as strong as it had been as well. So again, this is nothing new. I think he still got a little few tread left on the tire. Now, is he a back that needs to be carrying the ball 400 carries a season? Nah, I think you need to ease up on that a little bit, in my opinion. But I think he will eventually end up with somebody, and then again, could be the Cowboys. Corey also says, Dallas love the hype and be in the media. Yep, they do. They always they got, as Jerry Jones says, there's no such thing as bad press. So the Cowboys, they love Jerry, love to have them in the news, and I get it. They get eyeballs, so I get it. And I'm a Packer fan, but I understand. I know how it go. And speaking of Packers, we're gonna talk a little bit about A-Rod here, because I'll be honest with you, I'm sick of this mess too. I'm sick of him. I wish we figure out the Packers and the Jets need to go ahead and make this happen. Now, let's talk about another Cowboys move that I thought was a good one. They signed 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, former Defensive Player of the Year, Stephon Gilmore. They signed him they made a trade. They signed him for the Colts. I think the Cowboys only gave up like a 5th round pick to get him. They did sign him from the Colts again. To anchor that secondary, to anchor that back, that back end. Now you got Trayvon Diggs on one side, Stephon Gilmore on another. So I think that was a really good signing for the Cowboys. He has 29 career interceptions, 127 career pass breakups. So the Cowboys did a good signing. They signed Stephon Gilmore again. And got him for cheap. I mean, he's only on a 1-year deal, $7.9 million on that deal. Corey also thought, it was a good move. I thought it was a good move. So the Cowboys, they shoring up their defensive side. They made a whole lot of changes on their coaching staff as well. Mike McCarthy is going to be doing the play calling. Obviously, Kellen Moore is gone. They brought in a whole lot of new coaches. They also re-signed Cooper Rush. That happened as well, as he's going to be Dak's backup. They re-signed him. They re-signed Leighton Vander Esch as well, and Donovan Wilson, the safety, who was their leading tackler. So Dan Quinn is getting his guys in place on that defensive side. That's a strong defense, regardless of they had the most takeaways in the league for the 2nd season in a row. So offensively, what are they going to do? They did restructure some contracts to get under the cap. They restructured Tyron Smith to get under the cap to free up some space. Now they looking to sign a wide receiver. Is Odell Beckham Jr. still on their radar? I don't know, but he's on everybody's radar at this point. So those were some of the Cowboy moves. Now the Rams traded All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins. He's a 3-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler. He's only 28. They traded Jalen Ramsey, but he did allow the 2nd most touchdowns as the nearest defender in the NFL last season. But again, the Rams, they trying to free up some money, because when they signed Matthew Stafford, they put themselves in a pickle because they got a lot of big contracts that they were trying to get rid of. So we're gonna see what they happen. Corey, did they keep Dalton Schultz? They did not. They did not. Right now, it looks like he's still a free agent. He hasn't signed with the Cowboys. They offered him though, but I guess his agent didn't like the offer. So as of right now, Schultz is still out there. Nobody has signed him at this moment. So we see? Will the Cowboys try to give him a better offer? Who knows? But I think the Cowboys are going to let Dalton Schultz walk, because they got those 2 other tight ends. I think the one rookie that had a pretty decent season, but he got hurt. So we'll see what happens with Dalton Schultz. Again, the Rams trade Ramsey to the Dolphins. So the Dolphins are shoring up their secondary. The Dolphins cut Byron, former cornerback for the Cowboys, matter of fact, Byron Jones. They released him, and they re-signed their other All-Pro cornerback as well. So the Dolphins are trying to show up that back end over there as well. So we're going to see what's happening. So that's Jalen Ramsey. Rams traded him to the Dolphins. And, again, let's talk about New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers. As of right now, there's nothing imminent, according to what we're seeing. But the Jets did sign Aaron Rodgers wide receiver, someone that he put on his wish list, that he, according to reports, Aaron Rodgers gave the Jets wish list. They did sign wide receiver Alan Lazard to a 4-year, $44 million deal. Former Packers, they signed him this week. So is that a sign that this Aaron Rodgers will be in New York? I think so. I think the Jets right now and the Packers are just haggling over picks. The Packers are going to want some first-round picks, which they should get, and some other picks as well. You just don't trade them and get some magic beans in return. You got to get something in return for them, in my opinion. But I think at this point, I don't see Aaron Rodgers playing for the Packers. I think if he plays anywhere, it would be with the Jets. And if that doesn't happen, then I think he's going to retire. Corey says, I'm tired of Aaron Rodgers. And I am too, bro. And I'm a Packers fan, diehard Packers fan. But the soap opera has pretty much wore on me at this point. I think it's wore on a lot of us, and it's just time to get this thing going. And it's on the Green Bay Packers front office to get this going. Get this Brian Gutekunst and Mark Murphy. They just need to go ahead and make this happen. I think we're tired of it, just so we can Jordan Love can know that we can see what he got, and we can and the team can move on. I always felt like A-Rod the last couple of years have kind of had the Packers organization. He's been holding them hostage, in my opinion. So it's just time to move on. It's just time to move on. So we're going to keep our eye on that. Again, they say that's not a deal imminent just yet, but I think something is going to happen pretty soon. Now, former Eagles running back Miles Sanders signed a 4-year, $25 million deal with the Carolina Panthers. He was a first-time Pro Bowler. He rushed for 1,269 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 yards per carry. So the Eagles did not sign their guy. They signed their running back out of Seattle, though. But running back Miles Sanders signed a 4-year deal with the Carolina Panthers. And the Browns released former number 1 overall pick, defensive end Jadeveon Clowney. After 2 seasons, Clowney played 12 games. He had 10 starts, and he only had 2 sacks and 4 quarterback hits this past season. So those were some of the news and notes. Again, we had a whole lot of moves and shaking. Jameis Winston did re-sign with the Saints as going to be the backup. David Carr signed a deal with the Saints as well, but he did re-sign with them. Real estate insider say he's to me too. I know you tired. A lot of people tired of him. I get it, for real. Packers can have Dak. Nah, the Cowboys, they good. Dak ain't going nowhere. I think you're gonna see a difference year this season with Dak and the Cowboys, because I think with Mike McCarthy taking over the play calling, I think you're gonna see a little bit different. I don't think he's gonna be the guy that they lean on. Now, my thing is them letting Zeke go, and then your main guy Tony Pollard is coming off of an injury. I don't know if that was a good idea. I just thought that they should have been able to rework Zeke contract some kind of way, or maybe Zeke didn't want to redo a contract. I don't know how those go. So I don't know, but that could be all right. I think Mike McCarthy is gonna do some better play calling, even though I think sometimes his play calling was a little suspect when he was in Green Bay. But we'll see what happens with that. And also, I forgot, the saga continues with Baltimore Ravens all-star quarterback Lamar Jackson, still at a standstill with that. If you don't know, he's his own agent. There's been a haggle over if you want a guaranteed money or how much guaranteed money he wanted, or a guaranteed contract. So the Lamar Jackson saga continues. Right now, he was tagged as a non-exclusive franchise tag, which means that he can negotiate with other teams, but the Ravens have the right to match whatever another team gives him. And if they don't match, then that team will have to give the Ravens some first-round picks. So again, the Baltimore Ravens all-star, all-team quarterback Lamar Jackson, his thing is still up in the air. Now, let's move to our last topic for the day. Let's make it happen. We're talking about my man MJ and the Charlotte Hornets. He's looking to sell. This story came out about 2 days ago. He's looking to sell a majority stake within the franchise. Now, if a sale is completed, MJ is expected to remain as a minority owner. When he first joined the Hornets, that's what his title was. He was a minority owner under Bob Johnson, who he eventually bought the franchise from 13 years ago. Now, selling that majority stake would mark the end of Jordan's 13-year run as owner, which has had had a up and down time as an owner. He's taken his hits as owner. MJ is my GOAT of all time. Everybody knows that. But as an owner, I would say he's been mediocre. But that's okay. It is what it is. But it just could never get this Hornets franchise, could never get over the hump. Now he paid $275 million to become the majority, to get the majority stake in this franchise in 2010. Again, he purchased it from former BET owner Bob Johnson. This franchise has only made the playoffs 3 times under Jordan. So, yeah, I think people have a right to scrutinize his ownership ability, and I get that. I'm not in my feelings about that like a lot of people are. I mean, I think he's made some bad draft picks. And then a lot of free agents just didn't want to go to Charlotte. So a real estate insider says better sell to someone black. I hope so. But according to what I read, Real Estate Insider, the group that's is going to probably end up getting it is I believe they are of Caucasian descent, but I'm not sure, according to reports I read. So we're going to see, because he's the only minority owner in the NBA, basically, as far as black ownership. And I think far as when you talk about the 4 major professional sports, he is it. So, yeah, you would definitely want to see this continue to be black owned. But and I don't know why a lot of our black elitists doesn't pool their money and pool their resources together and own franchises. We got enough black elitists that got that cash. They can get it. They can pull it together and make it happen. But then sometimes these leagues are the good old boy clubs too. You got to remember, to become owners of a lot of these leagues, it has to be voted upon by the owners. And the majority of owners are of what skin color? There you have it. I don't even have to say no more. You know what? You can read between the lines on that. Now, some of the head scratching draft picks Mike had Kimball Walker. I wouldn't say there was a head scratcher. He was a solid player. Tobias Harris, Jeremy Tyler, Michael Kidd Gilchrist, who's kind of been all over the place, Cody Zeller, Shabazz Napier, who I don't think is in the league anymore. And in 2006, even though Mike wasn't the primary owner at that point, he was a minority owner. In 2006, they selected Adam Morrison I believe he was out of Gonzaga, which that was a head scratcher. Frank Kaminsky, Malik Monk, who's kind of balling now for Sacramento, and LaMelo Ball has probably been their best pick under his time as owner, in my opinion. Real Estate Insider says, sounds like a cheap deal compared to the NFL sales. Tyler, Jay, Diddy, they could easily get it, or Byron. Exactly. I agree. So, yeah, as far as the value of the Hornets club at this point, the Real Estate Insider, I hadn't seen. I need to look that up. I don't know what it's valued as, but I definitely know that they're going to have to pay more than $275 million, I'm sure, to buy it at this point. So he'll make a profit off of it for sure. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, it's looking like Mike is going to sell the Charlotte Hornets, but it's not an imminent deal, a time frame on that. But we're gonna keep our eye out on that, and I'm gonna keep you updated to let you know if that happens. So we get down to the end of the show. First of all, I want to thank my man Corey Durham. I want to thank the Real Estate Insider for jumping in and hollering at me again. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Share it as well. We rocking and rolling on TFG Sports Media. We are almost at 1,200 subscribers. Go over there and check out some of the videos so we can get them watch hours up. Go check it out. And also, do your boy solid. Subscribe to my personal YouTube channel, Kendrick Sports Show. So that's SportzHustle. Check me out over there. We're doing sports stories, man. I try to keep you up to date on breaking news and some of the sports stories that you may not even see and that's flying under the radar. So again, I want to thank you guys for dropping in and commenting and all that good stuff. And keep coming. Tell your people about it. Come check it out. Now, I do want to say we're going to get out of here in a second, but I have to say this before I get out of here. Make sure you also check out all the other programs on the TFG network. Tonight, you can check out my man Lee Black on TFG Uncut, TFG Ratchet, Real Talk for Real Men. He comes on at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're not watching nothing today, check him out and give yourself a break from the NCAA tournament. And the Real Estate Insider, you can check him out on Fridays and Sundays. Make sure you subscribe to his channel too. But I also want to say, I want to dedicate this show. I did this show with a heavy heart. I want to dedicate this show to my big sis, my best friend, my biggest supporter, Britannica Lynn Henderson Baber. We lost her as a family on Wednesday. She was my biggest supporter. She always shared everything. The Real Estate Insider says he'll be live at 3. Make sure you check him out on this channel, The Real Estate Insider. She was my biggest fan. She always supported everything I did, no matter what. She was my first best friend, always my biggest supporter. So again, I dedicate this show to my big sis. We first cousins by blood, siblings by relationship. She got her wings, and it's been a tough few days for me. And it's probably going to be a little bit of a bumpy road to move on from here forward. But I know that I did it today because I know my big sis would have wanted me to keep pushing. She would have wanted me to keep pushing, and I'm definitely going to keep pushing for her. Again, my big sis, Britannica Lynn Henderson, baby, your baby boy did it today. You gone, but you will forever be in my heart. And I'm missing you, and we're going to keep this thing rolling. We're going to keep this thing rolling. I want to thank everybody for dropping in, checking me out. I appreciate the love. I appreciate all the support that everybody has given me at this point. So again, you all have a great rest of your Saturday and a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you on the other side. I'm out. Deuces.
I hit recorded, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never